Let's discuss the third dimension. We like to think by the time we're an adult that we have a pretty good grip on this so-called third dimension. However, what has not been explained to most of us is that the invisible energy fields that make us up actually have more impact on our daily lives than were ever explained. Have you ever considered the density and weight of consciousness? Later in this exploration, we'll be removing blocks that keep the flow of energy from being healthy. And when we remove these blocks with grace treatments, people consistently say, "I can't believe I feel so much lighter." The point of going through this exercise is to point out how this rock-solid third-dimensional body is really composed of holographic imagery in terms of our biofields, and that impacts our physical, mental, and emotional state. Actually, nothing's really solid. It's all just frequency. The third dimension that is impacting you is also ancestral biology. Ancestry is a biological genetic transfer. We receive our DNA from parents, and through the coupling of these two different genetic pools, we become a blend of them. We can be different from them, as some traits skip generations, as well as retain certain dominant characteristics from our parents, as they have from their parents, and so on. We refer to this as ancestral traits, and there are dominant and recessive traits that get passed on. Let's take the example of Asian hair color versus Caucasian hair color. In nearly every case, the child of an Asian and Caucasian parent will most likely have black hair. That's because the gene of Asian hair is a dominant trait. There are many characteristics that have dominant genetic power. Some are musical talents, medical talents, psychic abilities, etc. In addition, if an ancestor had a bad habit, for example, alcoholism, anger, etc., the genetic predisposition to having these traits passed down to the children is strong. It's believed that if the parents had some time in their life a traumatic experience that were not dealt with emotionally and physically, it can get implanted and stuck in their biofields, creating a distortion in their DNA. Then, if they conceive a child, there's a genetic predisposition that these traits will be developed in the child as well. Add to that, they will be growing up in an environment where absorption of, observation of, and access to these modalities become a part of daily life. This gives an inherited trait reinforcement and the indoctrination that this trait is a normal behavior. We become the sum of our parts. So in situations like this, grace works by removing the distortion and identifies the lineage of this distortion with the hope of removing it from all the ancestors, regardless of where they are now. Another dimension that's found in third dimension is the idea of a past life. Past lives refer to a transfer of the soul energy as opposed to the genetic DNA. The soul experiences different lives, sometimes established to the experience of both sides of an emotional concept. For example, to understand motherly love, one life will be as a mother. The next life will be as the baby. We can branch off into multiple lives in order to teach different dimensions of this relationship. For example, a life as a distant mother, followed by a life as a distant child. A life as an overbearing mother, followed by a life as a demanding child. A life of a drug-addicted mother, followed by a life as a drug-addicted child. So you can see there's this yin-yang to the life, and in grace we sometimes need to identify past lives and pertinent details that have bled through to this life, things that were never completed, or things that were so intense that they bled through. These will influence you in a way that is blocking your growth, and we can acknowledge this lesson to a karmic level and remove its impact on your present life. we recognize the lesson that needs to be learned in order to disintegrate the impact of this energy.